Hello there everybody, I'm Saban92 aka Nightmare, and welcome back to Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney. So, aside from the mind melt that I just suffered from last episode, apparently Iris has a twin sister. That twin sister just so happens to be Dahlia Hawthorne. Pearl is so precious that she can't notice the evil that her mother truly is, and it fucking breaks my heart, and apparently this is all some way to fucking just destroy Maya, because Morgan is arguable. Holy, look, don't get me wrong. She's evil to the core, that she would even use her own daughters. But they wrote her in a way to where it kind of makes sense. But God, holy shit, she's evil. And we can certainly see, now that people have mentioned this, the evil stare that Dahlia gives, and Morgan, yeah, that suddenly makes a lot of sense. Also, apparently, Misty, at least Dunham, that's Maya's mother, and now she's dead. Holy shit, everything's fucked up. Also, I have been told that, it's gonna be a long one. I figured as much, but, oh boy. Unfortunately, I will have to I can't record this all in one go. I'm recording this, I literally just got off work, so this is probably going to be, if I had to guess, a 2 or a 3-parter case. I don't know. We're going to have to wait to see how this goes.
Good morning! Oh, are you by yourself?
Morning, Pearls.
Mr. Nick, please tell me, what's going to happen to Mystic Maya?
I'm sorry. We don't know yet. The investigation is still going on, so I wasn't allowed into the inner temple.
Oh, I see. So is Sister Iris still trying to move those trick locks in the training hall?
No. She's the defendant in this case, so she can't be at the inner temple. She's required to be here in court.
How come she's not here in the defendant's lobby?
I have to admit, it's kind of strange. Let me guess. Okay, either Edgeworth or Godo. If you're looking for Iris, she's in the prosecutor's lobby. Edgeworth! Edgeworth! What's Iris doing over there?
She's going over today's testimony with the prosecutor as we speak.
Today's testimony?
You heard me. Iris is going to be testifying as a witness for the prosecution.
Wait, what?
The prosecutor is squeezing her for a confession. Or so I heard.
Franziska von Karma. What are you up to?
I know what you're thinking, but Franziska isn't going to be the prosecutor today.
Yeah, it's Godo. What? Then who is?
Who else would it be but Godo?
Godo?
Franziska is engaged in some important work in the Sacred Cavern.
The Sacred Cavern? You don't mean that she's...
Exactly. She has been out there all night, trying to remove those trick locks.
Okay, respect points for Franziska.
With the head nun's assistance, naturally. We estimate that the last of the locks should be taken care of in about 3 hours. I hope everything continues to go smoothly and we receive some good news soon.
Yeah. Thanks, Edgeworth.
Prosecutor Godo intends to nail this case shut today. Be prepared to fight like there's no tomorrow.
You don't have to tell me that.
Touché. I can already see it in your eyes. You're not the same fever-ridden, frantic maniac you were yesterday.
It's strange. On the way here, I decided that today would be the end of all this. Almost immediately after I made that decision, I felt myself getting stronger.
Interesting. Maybe you've passed your code onto someone else. Literally. And with that, I leave the rest in your capable hands, partner.
Oh!
Thanks.
There's something incredibly powerful about him referring to Phoenix as a partner. That just... Oh, that feels so goddamn good. Oh boy, it feels so good.
I still don't have answers for most of the riddles plaguing this case.
The circumstances around the murder of Miss Elise Dunham.
No. I mean, Miss Misty Fey.
Oh, by the way, Elise Dunham, pseudonym. Yeah, yeah.
The impossible flight Larry claims to have seen. And what that woman is really after.
Probably the death of Maya. Either the death of Maya or just getting her arrested.
I will solve them all and bring this whole tragedy to an end.
It's fucking amazing how much shit is connected. Like, I realize, it feels like, yeah, literally everything is culminated right here.
Hey, Godo.
Court is now in session for the Hey, my boy! How you doing, Judge?
Now I don't have to do with that goddamn annoying voice.
Anyway, court is now in session for the trial of Iris of Hazakura Temple. Your Honor? What are you... Who? Me? Well, my little brother came to visit me in my chambers earlier this morning. All of a sudden, in the blink of an eye, he developed a scorching fever and fainted. Wow, you did pass on your cold. Therefore, I'll be standing in for him. I see, Your Honor. So they're brothers. That explains a lot. Wait a minute. But one of them's Canadian. Wait. Does that mean Judge is half Canadian? Adopted brothers? Or was one raised in Canada and the other one was raised here in Japanifornia? Wait a minute, why the fuck does Canada not get a fusion name? My poor brother. He looked a bit pale. Not to mention sad that he couldn't be here. Joke's on you, Godo.
I also have my coffee at the ready.
Speaking of which.
It is impossible to predict what the future has in store for any of us. This is precisely why people feel the need to judge the past. And we of the court have been charged with the solemn duty of passing such judgment.
Well said, Mr. Godo. I understood exactly what you said. At least up until the end, anyway. I don't know how I feel about that. Oh yeah, they're definitely related. Now then, Mr. Godo, please proceed with your opening statement.
Humans are fragile, fickle beings. Our hearts change with the shifting of the tides. There is only one thing that remains a constant in this crazy world. The bitter darkness that lies at the bottom of this mug.
So then you mean, forget it. What do you mean?
During yesterday's trial, the accused refused to admit her role in the crime. But today, she has had a change of heart. Sister Iris of Hazakura Temple has a confession to make.
Confession? The defendant? Really? Iris. Why didn't she discuss this with me first? Very well. This court will now hear the defendant's confession.
Upon meeting a beautiful lady, always ask for her name and profession. That's one of my rules.
My name is Iris. I am but a simple nun undergoing training at Hazakura Temple.
Witness, is there something that you want to confess to?
Yes. But first, I want to apologize to Mr. Wright. I can't continue lying to everyone anymore.
It's all right. What is it?
Mr. Wright, I have to admit that I did play a part in this terrible incident.
Are you actually confessing?
What if she would... What if Morgan is trying to use her now? She's already shown that she's willing to use her precious Pearl. So, what's to stop her from using her other daughter? For fuck's sake, she certainly has no goddamn restraint abusing and using people.
Are you saying that you were the one who murdered Miss Elise Dunham?
No, I'm not, Your Honor. But I dealt with the cover-up after the murder took place. After her spirit left, I took the lifeless shell of Mystic Elise and carried it to the Hazakura Temple courtyard where I desecrated it.
What? Order in the court! Order! Witness! Are you saying you were an accomplice to the murder?
Yes, that's correct.
She might... What if she found out about Pearl and now she's just doing her best to protect Pearl because... No? What?! 3 minutes in, court, and I'm already covered in a cold sweat.
Everyone on the planet is an accomplice to something. It just happens to be that in this case it's to murder. Isn't that right, Mr. Trite?
That dodo. So this is the confession they were conferring about. It pains me to say this, but it looks like Iris's testimony was all a lie. Iris's testimony crumpled up and shoved into a pocket.
Now then, little lady, if you don't mind, I've got a question for you. Whose crime were you trying to cover up by your actions?
Iris was covering for someone. Ugh, now I'm definitely up the creek without a paddle. Or a life jacket. Probably both.
I've been at Hazakura Temple ever since I was a little girl. Hazakura Temple is run by one of the branch families of the Korean tradition. One of our missions is to protect the main family.
I'm sorry, but main family, Maya.
Yes, and that's why I would dirty myself if need be. To protect her. The daughter of the master of the Korean channeling technique, Mystic Maya Fey.
Huh? Yep.
Wake up and smell the coffee, Trite.
She's naming Maya?
Order! Order in the court! So not only did you witness the murder, you know the name of the murderer?
I'm terribly sorry, but it's true. I saw her commit the crime with my very own eyes. And then I cleaned up the area to try to protect her.
Objection! That's ridiculous! Maya could never do such...
The defense will refrain from commenting until the appropriate time. Now, witness, let's hear your testimony. What exactly happened on the night of the crime?
Yes, Your Honor.
I thought I was prepared for the unexpected. But I never imagined the case would wind up going in this direction. How many times does this make that I have to protect Maya? God damn!
I went to the inner temple that night and I saw it all happen in the garden. I saw Mystic Elise strike Mystic Maya with her staff. While Mystic Maya was still stumbling, Mystic Elise moved in to deliver a fatal strike. Mystic Maya tried desperately to defend herself and stole the weapon. It was only in self-defense. You can't blame her for it.
Wait, so it was in self-defense?
Yes. Mystic Elise was the one who attacked first. That's why I tried my best to protect Mystic Maya.
You moved the victim's body to the temple so that Maya wouldn't be suspected.
Wait a minute. I just had a sick feeling. What if... What if Maya's mother accidentally had Dahlia possess her instead? Potentially? Well, I'm trying to think here.
Isn't that right? Not bad. You've got the instincts of a true criminal.
Something's not quite right. I'm sure it was established yesterday that Iris never went to the inner temple that night. And that the person who did go was that woman. Iris even admitted it.
Now then, Mr. Wright, please proceed with your cross-examination.
Oh, I'm going to. Sorry about this, Iris. Sister Iris, your testimony has changed quite a bit since yesterday. You stated yesterday that on the night of the murder, you didn't go to the inner temple.
Objection! Did she now? Too bad for you. What she said yesterday doesn't mean much today. By the way, where were you when she claimed that she didn't go?
It was in the inner temple's training hall.
A private conversation between the two of you does not constitute testimony. That would be properly described as hearsay.
What do you have to say, witness?
I just couldn't tell him the truth at that time. Mystic Maya. She's her girlfriend, isn't she? I didn't want to be the one to break it to you that I saw her commit murder.
There. We all understand how difficult this is for you. Now then, let's continue with the testimony. What did you witness in the temple garden?
Well, Your Honor.
Interesting how Phoenix did not deny that. He was just shocked. He did not deny it whatsoever. Even if it's still used. You're saying that the victim attacked Maya. I mean Miss Faye.
Yes. It was a truly frightening scene. Mystic Maya was struck hard on the head and looked like she was going to collapse.
What were you doing at the time? Why didn't you stop them from fighting?
I'm terribly sorry, Mr. Wright. I was frightened. I couldn't move. I couldn't even speak. I was in such shock.
That's perfectly understandable, my dear.
This doesn't sound right. I don't believe this testimony for a minute.
What happened after that?
Yeah, I mean, we know she's lying. Mostly. She moved in to deliver a fatal strike?
Yes, I'm sure of it. She threw down her staff and reached into a robe for a weapon.
Well, you see, I mean, the thing about that is, listen, that's not really gonna happen because, this thing does have a, a sword. Why would she feel the need to do that? Why would she feel the need to reach into a robe to do that,
You say?
Wait a minute! What was this weapon?
It was some kind of dagger?
A dagger, huh? And Elise Dunham tried to stab her with this weapon. To kill Miss Faye?
Yes, exactly.
Huh!
You look like I did after I mistakenly took a swig of Worcestershire sauce.
That is cruel and unusual punishment.
Do you have a problem with the testimony we're hearing from your client, lawyer boy?
Do you have a problem with our testimony? There is one thing. Your Honor, I have a small problem with the witness's testimony.
You do? But this witness is your own client.
Yes, well, nevertheless.
That's fine. Witness, let's add your last statement to the testimony.
Yes, sir.
Hey, just a moment. It's my job to say that.
Listen, Gramps. I won't say it again. Final judgment will be rendered by me! I'm gonna drink to that. There we are. Make a loud gulp like our friend here with the visor. Actually, wait a minute. I'm noticing a similarity between us now. Okay, now, let's continue.
She threw her staff away and pulled a dagger from inside her robe.
Hold it! She threw her staff away.
Mystic Elise was trying to kill Mystic Maya. I think that's why she wanted a more lethal weapon.
Well, it's true. It's not easy to inflict a deadly blow with a staff.
Sister Iris, let me make sure I've got this Wait, what was that about the judge? You sound like you're speaking from experience.
Actually, yes, that did kind of sound like he was speaking from experience.
Now shut up! You'll end up like my third brother. Well, I mean, he's not around anymore for good reason, but shut up. So the victim herself chose to throw away her staff.
Yes? That's what I saw.
Is there anything odd about that, Mr. Wright? Oh yeah, it's odd, alright.
Mystic Elise attacked Mystic Maya with a dagger. I'm sure of this.
Hold it! And then?
Mystic Maya. She turned things around and then... She used the weapon she had taken and lunged forward for a strike.
Witness! Are you absolutely certain?
Yes, but believe me, she had no choice. If Mystic Maya hadn't done something...
Maya Fey's name would have been written on this autopsy report instead.
Yes, I see. This is bad. I still can't put the pieces together. Unless I find a contradiction in her testimony, Maya's going to get blamed for this.
I only have this to say.
Hold it! So you're saying Maya Fey was the one who stabbed Miss Elise Dunham? Sister Iris, is that really what you saw?
Yes.
Objection! Oh, try it. If your mug is filled with black and bitter suspicions, the only way to get rid of them is to drink them down quick. Like this!
I know that's supposed to be a metaphor, but I don't get it.
There's only one thing you need to get, Wright. It's called evidence. Now hurry up, before my next cup gets cold!
What does that mean? Is Goto waiting for me to point at the contradictions? He is. I'd like to avoid the whole spirit channeling thing if I can. Not only would it be inadmissible as evidence, but I think it might actually hurt our standing with the judge. First, I need to pick her testimony apart and expose the unnatural sounding parts. I don't know why Iris would tell a story like this, but there are two things I noticed that just don't add up. Okay, we want to go to right here. Objection! About that, Sister Iris, there's something strange about your version of events.
Huh?
Miss Dunham throwing her staff away, it makes no sense at all to me.
But all you can do with the staff is hit someone.
Naturally, you wouldn't know this, Sister Iris, but the victim's staff had a special feature about it. As you can see, it's a sword. If Elise Dunham really had wanted to kill Maya Fey, she wouldn't have needed to use a separate dagger. Not when she already had a beautiful blade in her hands already. Well, Sister Iris, what do you have to say?
Objection! That was an impressive bit of investigating, Wright. I never would have thought there was a sword hidden in that staff. But even so, how should I put this? A long sword is unwieldy, and thus quite ineffective in close quarters combat. Maybe that's why she chose a dagger over her blade.
Well,
Anyway, the type of weapon she chose to use isn't what's important. The important thing is that she tried to kill Maya Fey. As long as there's nothing strange about that, there's no problem with her testimony.
Oh yeah, there is something strange about it. Why would she choose to kill her own daughter? But there is something strange about this whole testimony. Well, Mr. Wright, the prosecution has a point.
Very well, Your Honor. The defense will now present evidence to back its argument.
Mr. Wright,
I have here another piece of evidence that shows that this testimony can't be trusted. Because Miss Elise Dunham would never attempt to take the life of Maya Fey.
Take that!
Elise Dunham would never have attacked Maya Fey.
how can you be so sure?
Because the victim's real name was not Elise Dunham. Her real name was Misty Fey.
Faye?
No, not Misty Fey.
What? Who is this Misty Fey? Is she related to...
Misty Fey is the master of the Korane channeling technique. She is also the mother of Maya Fey.
Are you serious?
Is it really true, Mr. Wright? Was Elise Dunham actually the great mystic Misty?
There's no doubt about it. It looks like Iris had no idea.
I can hardly believe it.
The idea that she would try to kill her only daughter, one she hadn't seen in 17 years.
Perhaps the prosecution can offer some explanation for why she would do such a thing. Order in the court! Upon first hearing the witness's testimony, it seemed natural enough. However, in light of some facts that have just been presented... 1. That the victim supposedly threw away a sword during a fight. And 2. That the two people battling to the death were mother and daughter. Despite the facts being believable when taken on their own. When taken together, the entire story seems difficult to believe.
Listen, there's nothing in this world that is impossible. Except for one little thing.
Yeah? What is this one impossible thing?
Ha! You still don't get it? You think maybe my beans are under-roasted, but you have no idea, Gramps.
Wait, what was that about what was that about beans?
Could you get to your point?
I heard this witness's confession this morning. Just as I had taken the first sip of my 8th cup of morning coffee.
Bro, the most I go through is maybe 3 or 4 cups of coffee in a day. And that's only on my days off. 8?
You're going to ruin your health, my friend.
I'm already dead. I don't give a shit. Anyway, after hearing this woman's confession, I had a detective who loves to investigate sent to the scene of the crime. And he discovered this little beauty.
Oh shit! Is that the dagger the witness testified to seeing?
Obviously, Your Honor, but do you not notice something else?
Well, now that you mention it, if you look closely, there appears to be blood on it! So not only did I release some information that I was hiding, Godo did the same thing. He's playing dirty like I am. I shouldn't be happy about that. Where did you find that?
I didn't see that when I investigated the crime scene.
Did you investigate the pine tree at the crime scene?
Huh? The pine tree?
This dagger was stuck in the back side of the pine tree.
It was?
When the last brawl was struck, ending the violent battle between the two women. This little baby was thrown in the direction of the pine tree.
The back of the pine tree. Which means the blood on this dagger belongs to the victim, correct?
Ha! Were you even listening, old man? I first heard this confession this morning. just as I had taken the first sip of my 13th cup of morning coffee.
You just said 8. Didn't you say it was your 8 just a few minutes ago?
I didn't have enough time to get the blood analyzed on such short notice.
Well, in any case, the court will accept the dagger as evidence. Furthermore, I order that a blood test be performed on it immediately!
This is my sweetheart. Make sure you treat her right.
What?
Bailiff, get this piece of evidence of the crime lab for testing immediately. Found behind a tree in the inner temple garden. The blood is being analyzed now. Shit.
Now then, the testimony we've just heard had numerous unbelievable aspects to it. However, after having found the very dagger the witness spoke of, I believe we can consider her testimony to be credible.
Cute girls never lie. Ever.
You should know for a fact that Dahlia Hawthorne is a... Wait. Never mind. Nah, she's not cute. She's just vile. Iris is cute. But we have to be careful here. If all cute girls never lie... I don't know.
In any case, witness, if you could please testify again to this court.
About what, Your Honor?
About the incident you saw. The battle between the two women.
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay.
Mystic Maya stumbled briefly after being hit over the head with a staff. But then she dodged Mystic Elise's next attack and stole her weapon. Suddenly, Mystic Elise is the one on the defensive with her back to the stone lantern. That's when Mystic Maya stabbed Mystic Elise. Mystic Elise managed to fling the knife away, but then she collapsed.
That was a very heartbreaking story.
I don't know if there were any bad feelings between them, but it had been 17 years since Mystic Misty's disappearance. Perhaps they simply didn't recognize each other anymore.
That seems reasonable.
Now then, Mr. Wright, proceed with your cross-examination.
Very well then. That's what I shall do.
Hold it! Iris, where were you standing when you witnessed all this?
What do you mean?
Well, if either of them had noticed you, they might not have continued their battle.
I wonder if that's true. The two of them, they were standing near the garden stone lantern. I was watching the whole thing from behind. It was dark where the two of them were, so I think that's why they didn't see me.
So it was dark in the garden when the murder took place. Tell me, what did Miss Maya do after she was struck? I'm having a stroke. Can you tell I'm getting old? I think I've been a judge for far too long.
Hold it! What happened to the victim's staff then?
I'm not sure. The area was very dark, so I really couldn't see. I think it got knocked away somewhere as the fight escalated.
That makes sense. That would explain the need for the dagger.
Mystic Elise raised the dagger to strike, but Mystic Maya dodged it at the last second. The dagger struck the lantern and fell to the ground. And then at some point, Mystic Maya picked it up.
Nothing sounds especially strange yet.
What did the victim do when the weapon was stolen from her?
Hold it! You're saying that Maya Fey turned the tables on the victim?
Yes. But Mystic Maya wasn't herself at the time. After all, her life was in danger.
I still can't believe it. The idea of Maya cornering someone at knife point, it's just silly. She'll only do that if they have a burger and she's really hungry.
As they say, a cornered fox is more dangerous than a jackal.
I believe the correct description of a cornered fox is scared and petrified.
Your animal analogies have grown tiresome.
You were the one who started it!
I feel like I'm back. I feel like I'm near my grandchildren. They just won't stop bickering. Anyway, so after Maya Fey backed the victim into the stone lantern, what happened next?
Are you absolutely certain that's what you saw?
Yes, I'm almost certain.
Almost?
The garden was dark. I couldn't really tell who was who.
Wait, what'd you just say? So in other words, it could have been someone else entirely.
Objection!
We know that Maya Fey was at the inner temple that night. And that the woman that was killed was Elise Dunham. Isn't it fairly obvious who attacked who?
I don't have anything to counter that yet. Well then, witness, please continue with your testimony.
Yes, Your Honor. The two of them faced each other for a moment. Then Mystic Maya rushed straight into Mystic Elise. Then Mystic Elise doubled over and fell to the ground.
Wait a minute, hold on. So she was stabbed in the stomach, huh? Hold on. Where's her autopsy report? Okay, we got that wrong. She was stabbed in the back.
Yes.
No, she wasn't.
So, I think I want to counter that one? At least I think I do.
Let me see, hold on.
Okay, so this is the power-up, this is the startup. Basically, this sets in stone that the next statement has Mystic Elise with her back against the stone garden thing. And this is what I've got to counter. But one more. Where'd that dagger go?
I have no idea. It was dark and I couldn't see.
According to the detective who found the dagger, it was stuck into the pine tree in the garden. Most likely it was flung towards a tree after the struggle.
That is the most likely explanation, yes. So after being stabbed in the stomach, did the victim collapse, like, right away?
Now that I think about it, she seemed to stare at Mystic Maya for a while. And Mystic Maya stood there, not moving an inch. It felt for a moment like time had just stopped. But then, suddenly, as if the spell had worn off, Mystic Elise fell over.
Seems like a reasonable story at first. But there's one thing that is completely impossible. The very idea of Maya stabbing someone. That alone is impossible, which means this faulty testimony must contain another contradiction in it somewhere. I feel like Iris is partially telling the truth, somewhat. But she did say it was very dark, so she couldn't see anything properly. So, objection! Something about you just isn't right today, Iris.
Huh?
Until now, I didn't think you were the type to make such a careless mistake. However, the testimony you just gave contains quite a few contradictions.
What do you mean? What's so wrong about my testimony?
According to you, Maya Fey stabbed the victim while she had her back to the stone lantern, correct?
Yes, that's right.
But in that case, the victim would have been stabbed in the stomach, right?
Yes, I think so.
But, according to the autopsy report, the cause of death was due to blood loss from a stab wound in her back. This proves that the victim was stabbed from behind, not from the front. Sister Iris, it appears another seed of doubt was sprouted from your testimony. What is the meaning of this, Mr. Wright?
Ha! It's simple. People are like books. We've all got a front and a back. You get my drift?
Is that all you have to say?
I can also say that darkness loves to play with the human mind.
Could you please knock it off with the cheesy proverbs and illogical metaphors already?
Oh my god, the point is, too much of this testimony just doesn't make sense. Throwing away a useful staff, the people fighting being mother and daughter. And now, she falsely claims the victim was stabbed in the stomach? There certainly are some inconsistencies. Well, Iris, how about it?
Well, it's just...
If you ask me, you're just being too naive about the whole thing.
What do you mean?
There are 253 distinct types of bitterness in coffee. But to pick out each one requires total concentration and the use of all the senses. Were you really concentrating on what this witness actually said?
Prosecutor Godo, explain yourself!
The witness was quite unambiguous about her own ambiguities when she said that the garden was dark and she couldn't see clearly.
I mean, I already made mention of that.
A human needs one thing to see clearly, and that is light.
Light.
By the way, did you know? Hazakura has a rule that on nights when an acolyte is at the inner temple training, the stone lantern in the garden must be kept lit.
I did wonder what that stone lantern was there for. Well, if that's true, shouldn't the witness have been able to see the crime more clearly?
Normally, yes, Your Honor. But according to the head nun, Sister Bikini, on the night of the crime, it is impossible to light that stone lantern.
Impossible?
It hadn't been used in a long time, and the wick was no good. In other words, it had to have been nearly pitch black in the garden that night. There could have been a faint light coming from the training hall, but that's all.
Most enlightening.
Yes, that illuminating fact has chased all the contradictions away. If the staff was dropped, it would be difficult to see. It also explains why they didn't recognize each other. We can't see the demons that lurk in the night. That's why humans are weak. Isn't that right, Trite?
No! Fuck you! You piece of shitting and fucking... I'm going to smack you. Order! Order! Order, you goddamn idiots! One of these days I'm gonna beat all of you with my gavel. Bailiff, restrain me!
Your Honor, let me present the stone lantern into evidence. Maybe it will rekindle the flame of truth in your mind.
Was not lit the night of the crime. Why is the judge just sitting over there with that look on his face?
What's wrong, Your Honor? Was that flame too hot?
This lantern. There's something written on it. It's written in blood! Oh boy! So the judge didn't know about that yet.
Written in blood.
It says, I'm sorry, Maya, upside down.
What the?
Oh, yes. That's right. After being cornered and then stabbed by Mystic Maya, Mystic Elise didn't fall down right away. She must have been writing that on the stone lantern behind her, with the blood that was draining out of her body.
Oh, it certainly looks that way.
Objection! Hang on. Hang on just a minute. What are you all talking about?
What do you mean, what are we all talking about?
We're talking about the message written in blood!
Huh, nonsense! This lantern, it's as clean as a whistle! Oh my god.
It just clued in. Is his vision just covered in red, which means he can't fucking tell? Could it be? He can't see the bloody writing at all? Now that I think of it, he did say something to me yesterday.
My eyesight is pretty messed up. Even with these huge goggles on my head, I still can't see everything.
Oh.
So that's what he meant by that.
In any case, it is obviously an important clue. We now know that the crime scene was dark. And that the victim scrawled this message on the stone lantern. Well, Mr. Godo, anything further? Mr. Godo?
Okay then. Let's move on.
Godo is literally shaking and somehow, I don't think it's from caffeine overdose.
I believe it has now been established that Miss Dunham was killed by Maya Fey.
That's just wrong. Now it's time to turn our attention to you.
Yes, sir.
After the victim died, you did something, didn't you? Let's hear it. We're all ears.
Oh boy.
After Mystic Elise died, I called out to Mystic Maya. I thought it was my duty to protect the future master of the Korean tradition. So I moved the body from the inner temple by myself. I dragged it behind me all the way across Dusky Bridge. Then I used the snowmobile to carry it back to Hazakura Temple and... I used the Shikishito to alter the way the wound looked.
So you moved the body?
Yes, I was raised at Hazakura Temple. I owe a great deal of thanks to the Fae clan. But even so, I never imagined that Elise Dunham was actually Misty Fae. I've committed a terrible sin.
A terrible trick of fate. I believe you're looking for twist of fate, Your Honor.
I intended to return to the inner temple after taking care of the body, but...
You were spotted by the head nun, correct?
Yes, and that's why I couldn't go back.
Your story makes sense, I suppose. Mr. Wright, go ahead with your cross-examination.
Oh... Yes, Your Honor. Okay. So you waited until everything was over before making a move? No, it's not like that.
Objection! She saw someone murdered right in front of her eyes. It's not surprising that she was a little timid.
Yes, I suppose that's true. Sometimes when I'm watching lawyers argue back and forth with each other, I feel so helpless that I just sit quietly and wait for them to reach a conclusion. Isn't that what you do every time? Isn't it your job as judge to mediate the argument?
It wasn't until Mystic Maya saw me that it finally dawned on her what she had done. So then, you knew. You knew the significance of the name Maya Fey. Yes, of course I did.
That's odd. I mean, Sister Bikini didn't recognize Maya's name, let alone her position.
Anyway, she was a very special person indeed.
Why did you do that?
Because I didn't want Mystic Maya to be suspected in any way. I thought the best thing would be to remove the body from the crime scene.
You moved a body all by yourself?
Yes, I did. It would have been impossible if it wasn't for the snow.
The snow, huh? I feel like that's important. It's pretty amazing you can make it all the way across. That's a rickety old bridge.
It looks worse than it is. It's surprisingly sturdy despite its age.
It's like they say, idiots are too stupid to catch even a simple cold.
But there's one other thing that bothers me. Why not just throw the body into the Eagle River?
Huh?
It would have been much easier than dragging it all the way to Hazakura Temple.
I thought that it would still cast too much suspicion on Mystic Maya. That's why I tried to take the body as far away as possible.
Huh! Makes perfect sense to me. For the time being. Anyway, what did you do after you crossed the bridge?
The snowmobile! I knew that would show up sooner or later. I almost said snow up. I knew that would snow up sooner or later.
Yes, I had the key. I used the snowmobile to travel from Hazakura Temple to Dusky Bridge.
This is the part that was in question the other day. Should I ask for more details? You know what? Yeah, I'm actually kind of curious about the tracks because this is a very important detail. I could give two shits about the snowmobile itself. The tracks are what's important because we established that because of the weather, there was only one set of tracks. So, I don't know. So, let's see. If you really did move her body by snowmobile, then there should be tracks left in the snow, right? Well, yes, naturally, you would expect tracks. This picture was presented at yesterday's trial. Are these the tracks from that ride?
Yes, I think they are.
But I can only see one set of tracks here.
I don't see what's so strange about that. The snow was still falling when I left Hazakura Temple.
I see. Snow was still falling, huh?
And then when the murder took place, it had already stopped. That's why there are such fresh-looking tracks.
How about it, Mr. Wright? What do you think about this testimony? Well, I mean, it's very important why she stated that. If we can get the timeline here, we might be able to contradict what she's saying. When the murder took place, the snow had already stopped? That doesn't make sense if you stack it up against the other evidence. Yeah, like, if the murder already took place, between 10 and 11 p.m. Now, let's see what the weather data says. According to the weather data, the snow stopped at 10:50 p.m., which is actually, now that I think about it, that's actually between 10 and 50. 10:45 is whenever it was struck. Oh god, the fucking timing of this is just so... Okay. Alright. Your Honor! I'd like the statement Iris just made added to the testimony. But does it have something to do with the case? All will be made clear if you allow her statement to be added to the record.
Huh! This should be fun. You! Let's get this snow business cleared up, shall we?
Yes, sir. By the time the murder took place, the snow had already stopped.
There have been a lot of contradictions in your testimony so far. This time, are you sure it's all true?
Yes, I am.
When the murder happened, the snow had already stopped. According to you, that's why the snowmobile tracks were so clear.
That's right. I'm certain of it.
I think I've trapped her this time.
I see how you think. Snow, huh?
Wait, what is going on here? Why are you two smiling? If the snow really had stopped by the time of the murder, it'd mean there's a bigger hole in her story than that movie, The Grid Revelations. What?
Huh! Well then, Mr. Tride, perhaps you'd like to share your theory with us. Let's see what's up your sleeve. Or rather, at the end of your index finger.
I don't want to believe it, but I don't think my logic is failing me. Iris is trying to pin the murder on Maya. But why would she want to do that? There's only one reason I can think of. Potentially either her sister or her mother. dragged it behind you all the way across Dusky Bridge. Listen. That would not be a very good idea. You couldn't have done it anyway.
Objection!
You claim that the snow had already stopped when the murder occurred. But I'm sorry, Iris. That just isn't possible.
What?
This is the weather data from the night of the murder. According to this, the snow didn't stop until 10:50 p.m. But you couldn't have crossed Dusky Bridge at that time.
Why do you say that?
Because 5 minutes before the snow stopped, Dusky Bridge was struck by lightning and it caught on fire.
What did you say? The bridge? It was on fire?
You don't mean to say you didn't know about it? It was because of that lightning strike that the bridge burned down.
What? But it can't be.
It looks like you still haven't figured it out. No matter how hard you try to deceive or conceal the truth. You can't pull the wool over the eyes of a real defense attorney.
No!
Order, god damn it, order! I swear I'm gonna beat the crap out of you all with my gavel, god damn it! Judge, Jesus Christ, man. The bridge was already on fire when the incident took place. That's right. The inner temple was already totally cut off from the outside world. There's no way you could have crossed the bridge, body or no body. Witness! Even my patience has its limits. Any further lying and I will find you in contempt of court. Do you have anything to say for yourself?
Objection!
The only person here that is truly contemptible is you. Old man!
Wait, me? How dare you?
Whether this witness lied or not doesn't mean squat right now.
Squat?
The important thing now is to find out the truth, isn't that right?
Well, I mean, yes, of course, but...
Whether it was snowing or not snowing, or whether the bridges are burning or not. There are two facts that can't be disputed. First, the body of Elise Dunham was discovered in the Hazakura Temple courtyard. And second, the head nun, Sister Bikini, witnessed Iris desecrating Elise Dunham's body.
He makes a good point on both accounts.
That's right. I'm not lying.
What are you claiming this time?
I wasn't myself at all that night, so my memory's still somewhat hazy.
Objection!
You have stood at that witness stand and testified this entire time. Are you telling us now that your memory of that night is hazy?
Objection!
It is only human to err. If you're so perfect, Wright, maybe you can explain this for the court.
What is it?
When the murder happened, the bridge had already burnt down. But somehow the body traveled across the bridge and was found in the temple courtyard. Perhaps you have some kind of perfect explanation for this little magic trick.
Well, not exactly, no. I know there must be some other way she got across that burnt-out bridge. But unless I can somehow demonstrate it, we'll never know the truth. Well, it looks like the defense is not prepared to offer a suitable explanation.
You see what I mean? In other words, you're in no position to suggest that this lady's testimony isn't the truth.
All right, then. Witness, let's hear your testimony once more.
About what, Your Honor?
You've admitted that you moved the victim's body. Nevertheless, your prior testimony contained a rather large inconsistency. Please add an explanation for that to your testimony.
Yes, Your Honor.
Will this be your final testimony? Somehow I personally doubt it.
Other than walking over the bridge, there's no way to move the body. So I must have just gotten confused, I guess? Was the snow still falling, or had it stopped? Does it really matter that much? Or are you saying that there is a way to cross a burning bridge?
So it was just a misunderstanding, I see. This is a photo of Dusky Bridge after it burned down from the lightning blast. It was taken on the morning after the incident. Alright, let me see something here.
Two things spread out on the sides.
Well, it certainly was burned to a crisp, and one of the suspension wires even snapped. It's amazing the whole bridge didn't fall.
What if they could use that suspension wire?
Clearly, it would be impossible to carry a corpse across a bridge in this condition.
Okay. Unless I do something to discredit this testimony, it's going to be deemed as the truth. And Mai will be accused of murder.
Try it. I'm only going to say it one more time. It is only human to err. And only humans can spot the errors of our ways.
The more sense he makes, the less sense he makes. Yes. Alright, Mr. Wright, please begin your final cross-examination.
Okay.
Yes, but if the snow had already stopped when the incident took place...
I couldn't have crossed the bridge, naturally. But I think it's just like Mr. Godo said. The body didn't make it across somehow.
But you seem to be quite sure of yourself when you gave your testimony. You said you were sure the snow had already stopped.
I'm terribly sorry. I was wrong.
Does she really think an apology is going to get her off the hook? This is no joke. You're giving sworn testimony in a court of law.
Well, Mr. Wright, let me ask you a question. Do you remember what the weather was like 1 week ago today?
It was partially sunny and then it got dramatically cold halfway through. Oh, you mean 1 week ago today? It was actually quite warm. I would say around mid-60s, I think. Huh? Well, I mean, naturally, it was,
You see? It's not that easy to remember, is it?
But if it had been some kind of a special day, I would have remembered. For example, it was pouring rain the day of my elementary school graduation.
Objection!
I don't think how that... No one wants to hear about your childhood traumas, Trite.
What?
I kind of want to hear about it. We can compare our traumas together. By the time the murder took place, the snow had already stopped. If you insist on obsessing over that one statement, let's see the proof. Show some evidence that the body somehow crossed the bridge while it was on fire.
There is a way. Potentially, there is a way to get across the bridge. And, again, my theory is that he saw this from an upside-down perspective. So potentially, maybe he used one of the suspension wires to fling her across. Actually, that seems kind of dangerous now that I think about it. Well, I don't see why there couldn't be a way across.
Mr. Wright, don't you think that sounds a bit silly? A dead body crossing a burning bridge. Did anyone actually witness such a thing?
Yes.
There is one person who saw it. Huh. If there was, I don't think you'd call someone like that a witness. After all, a dream isn't the same as actually seeing something.
Come all this way. I owe it to everyone to figure this out. But how do you transport a body across a burning bridge? Even if I don't know the exact answer yet, it's okay. I'll start by examining all of my evidence to see where that takes me. I've gotta be like a shark. If I don't keep moving, I'm as good as dead. Don't worry, I know what to do here. Let's see. There's no way to move the body. Confused. It's either this comment or this one right here. I'm gonna go with my gut and cancel this one. And we're actually going to use Larry's photo. Why specifically? Because, again, he might have been laying on his back, so he literally drew what he saw. Objection! A dead body flying over a burning bridge. I wouldn't exactly rule out that possibility. Well, what?
You're saying it's possible, don't make me laugh. The only thing that's possible about your claim is that it's being pulled out of thin air.
I don't know about that. In any case, we have a witness who did see it happen. Preposterous! Who is it? Who is this witness? I can't chicken out here. Gotta keep on the attack and go, go, go. Miss Elise Dunham's brilliant and highly gifted apprentice, Larice Dunham. Brilliant.
Highly gifted.
Apprentice?
Remember what he said in his testimony. That night, he was at the Mountain Shack, Heavenly Hall. And that's when he witnessed the event. I think you've all seen this sketch before. It's an exact drawing of what he witnessed that night. Are you serious? Today's not April Fool's Day, is it? No, that's actually going to be in about a couple of weeks. Mr. Wright, are you seriously claiming that the victim flew through the air? And you're using this pathetic scribble to support your argument? Uh-oh. The judge looks like he's about to blow a gasket. Maybe.
Well, Wright, there's nowhere for you to hide now. Other than looking like it was drawn by a 6-year-old, does this sketch prove anything?
Fuck off! Larry did a good job on this. You can't see art. Yes, I'm pretty sure it does. And I'm going to prove it.
Listen, I know your tricks. You're trying to turn this whole thing upside down. If you're so eager to turn this case upside down, why not start with this sketch?
Upside down? Why did Goto say that? Alright then, let's hear the defense's theory. What exactly is this sketch trying to show? I don't think old Whiskerface is going to forgive any more mistakes. Alright, Phoenix, look carefully and think it over. This sketch drawn by Larice Dunham is... evidence of nothing, exactly what happened. A complete contradiction? I mean, technically these are both correct, I think? No, wait, no? A complete contradiction. Oh! I was right! Okay, I was right. It's a complete contradiction because this is literally upside down. It's one of these wires. They're the suspension wires. So what he saw, again, what I fucking theorized, is that whenever he was laying on his back, he literally saw the body falling, not flying. Something is obviously funny about this sketch. I mean, I'm no art critic, but even I can see that. No, that's not what I mean, Your Honor. Larice Dunham stated it over and over. that this sketch was exactly as he saw it. However, if we're to believe his testimony, then the sketch contradicts reality as we know it.
It contradicts reality?
Ha! This is getting interesting. Looks like you're back to that finger-pointing thing again.
I'm a protagonist.
Okay, Trite. So what exactly contradicts reality as we know it?
Let's see. Well, it would have to be... Okay, so if I flip it upside down and it was the right wire, then it would have to be this one. Take that! It's this wire connected to the bridge! The wire?
Ha! Is that the thing that contradicts reality?
Yes. It is indeed.
Then show us the reality it supposedly conflicts with. Show us something that will point out how the sketch contradicts reality.
The photo you gave me. One of those suspension wires is broken. So... Take that! That's a photo of Dusky Bridge, correct? Yes. Now compare the sketch and the photo for a minute. In the sketch, the wires appear to be above the guard wires. But on the actual Dusky Bridge... Jumping Jehoshaphat! The wires are...
The wires are below the guard wires!
Ora! This sketch is somewhat different than what's depicted in the photo. However, isn't it likely that the artist just saw it wrong?
Or perhaps he just drew it wrong?
Either way, it sounds like you're just wrong.
Nope. With someone like Larice, I admit a mistake is a definite possibility. But then that begs the question, why did he make a mistake? What was the reason?
Are you saying you know the answer to that?
Listen, think back, alright? Remember what Larice was doing when he witnessed this event. He was at Heavenly Hall waiting for a lover that was never going to come. He waited and waited and finally he laid down. But then, lightning shoots from the sky and sets the bridge aflame. Now, ponder what sort of position Larry must have been in at the time. He was lying on his back, which is why he remembered the scene the way he did. He was lying on his back. I can't see how it relates. But it does, Your Honor. That is the reason why the wires in the sketch go up instead of down. Ha!
Ugh, no way.
Larice Dunham witnessed the event while he was lying on his back, face up. In other words, the scene that he saw was actually upside down. So then, the sketch should actually... I think you finally get it, Your Honor. The correct way to view Larice Dunham's sketch is like this. This is how it should actually look. The victim's body wasn't flying above the bridge. It was actually swinging below.
That's right. Just like a pendulum. Ridiculous! Of all the things to say, a pendulum?
The bridge was burning to a crisp. There was no way to get across it. But if the body had been found at the inner temple, it would have caused problems. This is where the criminal decided to take a gamble. They used the burning bridge to get the body across to the other side. And a pendulum was the only way to get it done.
Objection!
Okay, let's think about this for a minute, shall we? Dusky Bridge is about 20 yards long, which means it's about that far from the inner temple to the opposite side of the cliff.
Yes, that sounds right.
In order to cover that distance with the pendulum, you'd need a rope at least 10 yards long. To get a rope that long, you have to plan ahead.
Objection! The lightning strike that night can only have been an accident. So it doesn't make sense that the culprit would have prepared the rope beforehand. So they didn't have to get the rope ready. The rope was already right in front of them. What? I'm saying that it was just a matter of using what was already there. In that case, Mr. Wright, please give us an explanation to support your theory. What made you think the criminal had the rope on hand to create a pendulum? Had the rope on hand to create a pendulum. Oh! I'm a fucking idiot. Yeah, look at it. There's the rope right there. Take that! And the meaning of this is, if you want to know where the rope came from, it's hanging right there in front of your glorious beard. Oh my god. Finally, someone validated my beard. I've waited 40 long years for this day. Ah! This is one of the wires from the bridge. When the lightning struck the bridge and set it on fire, one of the suspension wires came loose from its anchor. The criminal didn't have any time to waste. So, they tied the wire around Elise Dunham's body. Because there was simply no other way to move the body. That is arguably one of the weirdest fucking... It is one of the weirdest fucking things. Just for that, I finished my coffee in one gulp. Mr. Godo? I'm still... It seems that Mr. Godo is more focused on his coffee than answering my question. Well, it seems that the odds of the rope being readily available were very high. So I suppose that's not an impossibility after all.
Objection!
Anyway, I'm done. Possible or impossible? That's not the question we need to ask. There's only one question. Did that really happen? Try it. I wonder if you can prove what happened to us. Do you have any actual evidence that the body was swung over like a pendulum?
Yes, because what happened to be on the other side of the bridge? This motherfucking item. The part that was part of her fucking staff. Before I present my evidence, let me review what we know so far. According to this photo, one of the wires snapped. Looking at the map, we can see it's the one that was in front of the inner temple. So then, that was the spot where the criminal... Yes, precisely. Now let us consider the body's movement by looking at the overhead map again. If the body was pushed from this point here, it would drop on the opposite bank at approximately this point. Did you say drop? Well, they must have failed to catch the body on the other bank. What made you think something like that happened? Because I have evidence that suggests her body dropped some distance. What kind of evidence? Take a look at this autopsy report. It says here that her body fell about 10 feet after her death. 10 feet, huh? That's most likely the height difference between the two sides. The body overswung due to forward momentum, but then came loose and fell about 10 feet. And then, as a result of the landing impact, this crystal sphere was knocked loose. That's... Yes, this blood-stained amethyst crystal. It's the one that came off Miss Elise Dunham's staff. And even more important is the place where the crystal sphere was found. Indeed. I believe it's already marked on this overhead map. The crystal was found... Ah! Precisely, Your Honor. In the very spot where the pendulum would arrive if given the right amount of speed. This explains your theory quite well, Mr. Wright. You have provided us with why the body could have been moved that night. An impressive deduction, Mr. Wright. Most impressive. Mr. Wright.
I thought this cold coffee might help cool you down.
What's the meaning of this, Mr. Godo?
That was a dark and bitter guess that you made, Wright. But you forgot about one thing.
Oh, and what would that be?
The aroma.
Huh? The aroma?
A coffee's most reliable accomplice is its deep and profound aroma.
The rest of the court doesn't speak Coffinese. Can you elaborate a bit more?
If the criminal had sent the body to their side like you say, then naturally there must have been an accomplice lying in wait to catch it.
An accomplice?
The criminal wasn't able to cross Dusky Bridge. So who collected the body? What do you have to say about that, Wright?
Oh, I've already got this answer, now that I think about it. I mean, seriously, just think about this for a second. Who could have possibly done it? Think about it. It would have to have been Iris. Because where was Iris during all this time? She was at Hazakura Temple. On the other side, while the bridge was burned. So you know what that means? Who could have been on the other side? The killer. And I do believe we know who the killer is. Dahlia Hawthorne. But this raises one final question. Who was she possessing? Was she possessing Maya? Or was she possessing Pearl? In a sick twist, I believe there's a potential that she might have been possessing Maya. Because, just saying, she might have glanced at... Just saying, she might have done it. Just saying. Mr. Godo is correct. This can't be the work of a single person. Well, Mr. Wright, you know what you must do. Yes, Your Honor. The body couldn't have made it to Hazakura Temple without an accomplice. Very well then, if you please, Mr. Wright. Who was the person that received the body on the Hazakura Temple side? It had to have been Iris. Because she's not the one that did the killing. Instead, the real killer was motherfucking Dahlia! It can only be you, Sister Iris.
Huh? But I
don't see why you're so surprised. The only way to transport the body from Dusky Bridge is by a snowmobile. But with her bad back, Sister Bikini could never pick up a body like that. You're the only one that could have managed it.
Objection!
Wright, were you even listening to the witness's testimony? On the night of the crime, this little cutie pie was on cleanup duty in the inner temple garden after the mother-daughter bloodbath.
No, I haven't forgotten. But have you, Mr. Godo? This witness was also seen at Hazakura Temple, desecrating the corpse of the victim. Strange indeed. It's almost as if, on that night, the defendant was in two different places at the same time. Sister Iris, let me ask you something. Why didn't you mention it when you first gave your testimony?
mention what?
The pendulum, of course. Using the sketch drawn by an eyewitness, I've established how the body was moved using the burnt-out bridge, which means it's now a fact that this occurred, something you should have already known.
No, I had no idea. I didn't know anything about a pendulum.
But the body couldn't have been passed along to the other side without your help. So you should have known about it. In fact, it'd be impossible for you to be clueless about this whole thing. Unless you're not really Iris to begin with.
What? How can you say that, Mr. Wright?
Yeah. What kind of nonsense is this? You're saying this witness isn't Iris of Hazakura Temple? No.
Objection!
Because right now, we just might say that she's possessed. And the real Iris? She might be locked up. You never know. Potentially. We'll have to wait and see.
Are you serious, Wright? You mean this woman is...
There's no one besides Iris that could have received the corpse that night. Now I get it. Now I know why I've been sick to my stomach this whole trial. Why her whole demeanor changed so suddenly from yesterday. And why she's trying to pin this murder on Maya. Yeah, the woman that's standing there at the witness stand. Her real name is... Take that! I never thought I'd have to utter your name again. Let alone see you. It's been a long time, Dahlia Hawthorne. Hawthorne? Sister Iris had a twin sister. And you're looking at her, Miss Dahlia Hawthorne. That name rings some bells. Distant bells, but bells nonetheless.
Huh. It's just your imagination, Gramps. This file contains all the relevant data about Dahlia Hawthorne.
Spirit channeling. Oh yes, I remember now. That case, 5 years ago.
My name is Dahlia Hawthorne. I just want to say, it's an honor for me to be here in your noble presence.
The honor's all mine!
No, the honor's all mine! Nice fade out. But, according to this, Dahlia Hawthorne is already dead. It says her execution was carried out last month.
About that, though. So what? Death has no meaning in this courtroom.
What? Order! Order, goddammit!
Wait a moment. How can you... My sister... She's already dead. What kind of...
Objection! You of all people should already understand. After all, the blood of the master of the Korean channeling technique flows within that body. The Korean channeling technique. Now, where have I heard that? That's right. You're not Dahlia Hawthorne herself. You're the spirit of Dahlia, currently inhabiting the body of a spirit medium. Yeah.
What an exciting story. Exciting, but quite impossible. You're asking us to buy that Dahlia Hawthorne just happened to be channeled by someone on the very night of the murder to a temple where her twin sister, Iris, was?
Well, if you're going to put things that way, then yes.
Objection!
We're supposed to believe a coincidence like that just happens.
Objection! Naturally, it was no coincidence. The whole thing was part of the plan from the very beginning. It's all written right here in these instructions.
What's that?
These instructions were written by your mother, Morgan Fay. And part of the plan called for Dahlia Hawthorne to be channeled. That night, there were 2 irises at Hazakura Temple. Two of them. Even the time of the channeling was planned out. As soon as you hear the lights out bell. In other words, 10 p.m. However, Iris was seen before dinner time. That means the Iris that was at dinner was the real Iris. And the Iris who gave me this hood in the main hall was also the real Iris. Meaning that the Iris Sister Bikini saw the inner temple was someone else dressed as her. Namely, one Dahlia Hawthorne.
Objection!
Do you even know what you're saying, Wright? This whole channeling the spirit of Dahlia Hawthorne business. Yes, it's true that you found plans that talk about it. However, there's one thing that's perfectly clear. The witness currently standing in the witness stand is the real Iris.
What?
To be fair, there's like technically 2 ways that this could have been potentially pulled off. Because if you think about it, like, there was one instance where they could have easily swapped places. Why do I think this? There was an earthquake. And I remember Edgeworth saying something. I don't know if he said he stated specifically, but I'm pretty sure I think he passed out, basically. Because of, like, the trauma from the earthquake. And that was the only instance that Dahlia and Iris could have switched places. So who we're seeing right now is Dahlia. The real Iris is currently locked away. And whose body is being talked with right now? There's only one person, potentially. There's two people, actually. No. It's either the possession of Maya's body. I think it's the possession of Maya's body. Or Sister Bikini. But I think, realistically, it's potentially... I think it might... Yeah, it might be Maya.
After meeting Sister Bikini, the Dahlia Hawthorne that had been channeled would have been stranded at the inner temple due to the lightning strike. It was later that the body was moved by pendulum.
That's right.
Naturally, that would mean that the Iris that received the body was the real Iris. Are you with me so far?
Yes.
After being notified of what happened, the police came to Hazakura Temple's main hall. There they found Iris in a room and arrested her. And ever since, she's been under police supervision at the detention center.
Yes, I suppose. I can't deny any of that.
Whew, thank goodness. It looks like he's finally convinced.
But something still seems off. Way off. I'm still not convinced that the Iris here is the same one from the other night.
Huh! I suppose you're about to say something really ridiculous?
No, I have a very solid idea of when this switch could have happened.
Like the real Iris and the spirit of Dahlia somehow switched places?
Why do I make fucking commentary when the game just spells out what my thought process is?
Switched places.
Yeah.
To be perfectly honest, there are still quite a few things I don't understand, but I do know that unless we confirm the witness's identity, we can't continue with this trial.
Iris doesn't have the spiritual power needed to channel Dahlia, which means they must have switched places somewhere.
Well, Mr. Wright, since the time she was arrested at Hazakura Temple, have there been any chances for Iris to switch places with Dahlia Hawthorne?
Only one. Your Honor, I think there might have been one chance.
Oh, explain yourself.
Yesterday, for a few minutes, Iris's whereabouts were unknown.
Unknown? What do you mean?
What I mean is, there was a span of time in which Iris was able to move about freely, unsupervised.
Well, who was it? Who would give a murder suspect time to move about freely like that?
I'm sorry. I know you didn't mean to. It wasn't your fault. The person who gave Iris a chance to freely move about was entirely an accident because he fainted from an earthquake.
Take that!
From trauma.
This is Mr. Edgeworth, isn't it?
Your Honor, there was a fairly large earthquake yesterday, was there not?
An earthquake.
Earthquake! Oh my goodness! The inner temple! It's kind of a termite!
How could I have? She fled. She escaped.
We went to the inner temple right away. And it's true, Iris is already there. However, they had already switched places by that point in time. When I arrived at the training hall, I was met by none other than Dahlia Hawthorne.
That's quite enough already, Mr. Wright. Now see here.
No judge in his right mind would consider the idea of spirit channeling.
Be quiet.
Fucking knew it.
It's been a long time, Mr. Judge.
That voice. Guess I'll have to ask again. Upon meeting a beautiful lady, always ask for her name and profession. That's one of my rules.
Dahlia Hawthorne. And my current profession? Permanently retired.
Huh! So you're not going to bother hiding your identity anymore, huh?
Why should I? After all, I'm dead. There's really nothing you can do to punish me.
What is going on here? Dahlia Hawthorne. Never thought we'd meet again. I never thought we'd meet like this. But this time, I'll end it. For her, and for myself. Damn right we will. God damn right.
But right now, I don't have time to record the second part of this. Not yet. But don't worry. I'll record it literally tomorrow. What a fucking twist! I'm gonna look forward to tearing her apart. See you guys in the next one, and thank you all very much for watching, and know that you're all loved.